Hey everybody, this is Bill Combs
and Jeff Newton
with Flashbang Creative.
Today we're going to talk about professional image and how fitting, since today I am dying and getting crushed by seasonal allergies here in the heartland. So if my voice happens to crack on this episode, no, it's not because I'm a 12-year-old boy. I'm just really getting over some of that allergy situation. So anyway, to dive right in, start talking about what we're going to bring to you today. Having a professional image and understanding the importance of others' perceptions of you.
I guess I'll lead with this. As we did our national market research, we'll call it, that's where we were basically compiling a database of the nation's instructors. I was judging books by their cover. You know, I'm looking at emails. I'm looking, do they have a website? Do they not? So I'm initially... whether I meant to or not, I'm profiling, and an overwhelming majority, and I know I keep saying that term, but it's shocking. An overwhelming majority of instructors out there have Yahoo email addresses or Gmail or, you know, whatever free email host you can think of. And I mean, that's stage one, where it may not affect everybody, but to me, I instantly think, okay, this is a startup or someone who hasn't been in the industry for a long time. And then I find out, well, they have. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. I'm trying to give you guys my opinion that I gathered, and that to you should be a little bit of research. You know, hopefully you value that opinion, because it may give you a different outlook on how you're presenting yourself from already being typecast, whereas maybe your competitor in your area has their name Bill at whatever the hell their website is .com. That is more industry grade. That to me is more legit. It stands to reason at a glance that's a business.
Yeah, I guess I would just piggyback on that and try to throw it into perspective too. So to actually have a professional domain name, right, and an email that's at your training company's name is not expensive, guys. Whether you want to relate it to a cup of coffee a month or one student in one course will pay for it for an entire year, we're not talking about big dollar, big cumbersome things to really step up your game, go next level, if we want to call it that, and really represent yourself well as a professional. So I can't tell you how many of the Jim Bob 9 concealed carried with a Z at yahoo.com email addresses we stumbled across as we were compiling our database to reach out to. But you know, first thing I see when I see that is, just as Bill said, you know, it's more of it introduced a question of concern or a hesitation of professionalism, where that objection wouldn't have otherwise been there if it was Jim Bob at acmefirearmstraining.com. Don't really care. I mean, it's all about perception. And, you know, as we talked about a couple episodes ago, when you're really competing with a lot of consumers on price and price alone, if that simply comes down to a imaginary objection that they had based off of what your email address is, you know, that's a lost sale. That one student that chose to not come to you because you're an at yahoo.com account would have paid for your entire professional image for the whole year.
And it's all about differentiating yourself from your competition in your area. If they're not doing it, maybe you should, because that's an instant variable between, you know, your competition and yourself, and it is in a positive direction. So like Jeff said, I mean, that was a great example, actually, relating it to a coffee. That's pretty damn accurate of the cost of having, you know, industry grade email or enterprise grade email. And that's something that we provide.
Yeah, maybe to just kind of maybe send the point home, or to make a different point or approach it from a different angle. when we're talking about that professional image, I guess I would pose the question more to you, or make the statement. If you think about the way that you want your students to view you on training day when they show up to that course, you kind of have to think about what was their interaction like with you and with your business before they got there on training day. So did they go to your website and pay online for the course, or did they email jimbob59236 concealed carry at yahoo.com? And sorry for any jimbob 93492s that are out there. Not to pick on you personally, just what came to mind. It's all about that image, and it's not about creating a false image. I guess I wouldn't want you to misunderstand what we're saying.
A professional image.
It is a professional image. Firearms are a serious thing. Hopefully you're out there teaching and instructing that these things aren't toys, and that they're simply tools, and they're tools meant for a job, and you need to apply the right tool to the right job, and how to do it safely and make sure that everyone else around you is safe with them too. But it all comes down to image, and it all comes down to perception. And it's the subtle things that you may not pay much attention to or think intentionally about, but it's those small changes and those small tweaks that might just be the change you need to make to see a significant difference in the people that choose to use you for their training.
Well, and I constantly am analyzing big businesses, right? So we're talking large corporate organizations, and why do they do things they do? A lot of things they do makes a lot of sense, and then there's a lot that's stupid, in my opinion. They're slow to adapt to the market. But anyways, right down to a uniform, okay? So what if you invested, $200 or something like that, and got yourself a handful of custom embroidered polos? Hell, you could go with high performance like an Under Armour or a 511, something like that, and get it branded up a little bit with your business. That level of polish, something that's relatively inexpensive. I think that a couple $100 isn't a wasted investment. Especially the other thing that a lot of individuals might not think about, but this is all tax write-off stuff. And so occasionally you got to spend money to make some money.
Yeah, I guess maybe to challenge that from a different angle, as you think about what it is you want, the mindset you want your student to be in, right? You don't want to off-put them or have them second-guessing you or wondering if they could or should take you seriously when they show up for the classroom or when they're on the range. You want to eliminate any of those kind of false perceptions or pieces of doubt, because what you really need them focused on is themselves, what they're there to learn, what they don't know that they don't know, and what it is they hope to gain from spending time with you in that instruction at that point in time. And that can come down all the way to those small details. Like, although I wouldn't necessarily consider having a professional shirt that you tuck in that small of a deal, but it is something that so many of the people we work with don't necessarily think about. And if you happen to work with, another instructor, or you have assistants on range day, or maybe it's you and a partner, and one of you happens to dress a certain way and the other one dresses a different way, you want to make sure that you're delivering a consistent experience to all of your students. And consistency can come in the form of, an embroidered shirt or a screen printed shirt. Maybe it's a t-shirt. Either way, just think about the consistency, the mindset, and the experience that you're actually delivering to those students.
Yeah, you don't have to go boardroom. Think about a lot of gun guys, right? Watch YouTube videos. I know I do. I know a lot of my customers do, and people that I generally associate with. Think about any of your favorite brands. Go to their YouTube page. SIG, Glock. Anybody, Surefire. Go to their YouTube page and watch some of their videos. Chances are they're in a pair of khakis with a polo style shirt and a hat. Or not a hat, whatever, it doesn't matter. So it's not like you got to dress like you're going to a boardroom or to the office, but just that level of professional look goes a long way. I mean, these big industry leader, thought leader companies out there that, I just name drop a couple of them. They're not just winging this. They've done some research, and that's why I said I like to look at big corporations and analyze what they're doing, and if it's something that's a low cost, why not emulate it? And be it a enterprise grade email or a polo.
Yeah, maybe even to take that one step further too, if you want to try to look at it as a revenue stream versus a cost center, you could always consider running or getting a run of 20 t-shirts in large or extra large with your logo and your contact information on it,
and give that shit away,
right? One of your students, or make some sort of competition in the training that you're doing. The top 2 shooters that get the closest group or whatever it happened to be gets the t-shirt or gets the hat. I mean, I can't help but laugh and think about the old saying of been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You have to think about this as everything is a marketing game, and everything is a exposure and a name game. And more importantly, how many different places does that individual go outside of your classroom or off of your range, where if they happen to be sporting your brand, they're going to be asked about it, they're going to talk about it, they're going to propel or project what their experience was with you. Which again, if you didn't have the professional image, that's what they're going to, perhaps have left in their mind. Or if you do, they're going to talk about how great the experience was, and you might net who knows how many customers off that t-shirt.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that. It's a little off topic, but I want to hit on it too. Chances are you're not going to have a lot of students that want to buy a shirt from you. It's expensive to produce shirts in small batches.
Right.
The cost gets much lower.
It's an economies of scale thing.
Yeah, based off of volume. And you're more than likely never going to need to order volume level shirts or hats or anything like that. So I recommend having them on hand, but more so, I recommend giving them away because it's walking advertisement. I mean, if you can make a badass shirt or a badass hat, people will wear it, and it's going to be a conversation starter. That's increasing your sphere of influence. That's bringing people into your hub without you having to do anything. So you lost a little bit of money on giving away a shirt, but maybe you're going to gain a sale.
And like I said, turn it into there's an industry term, it's called gamification. Turn it into a game, turn it into a contest, turn it into an event. Maybe it isn't a drill or a shooting thing, maybe it happens to be the classroom portion. So whoever gets the highest score on the test, or whoever asks the best question, or get creative with it. But at the beginning of the class, hold it up. Maybe you got one, maybe you have 2 or 3. Set it out up front. I guarantee you that you'll have better engagement, better interaction, which guess what is going to make your class look that much better, that much more valuable to every student that was in the class, which is going to do what? Make them talk about it at the water cooler, on the range, over a beer, with a cigar, with however many more people they're going to talk about it with. I mean, it's all about creating the experience, developing a relationship, and driving value for them to come back again.
Well, and why do people give so many things away? It's because it comes back. A lot of brands out there have monthly giveaways. A lot of probably the shops that you guys frequent, at least I know the ones that I'm always sizing up or trying to face off with one of our other businesses in the marketing world. We all run giveaways, and the reason why you do that is it generates a buzz, and when you get a buzz, you get customers. Right. It's bringing people into your space. So just some things to take away from, but that, I think that actually did end up staying on topic, because that's a level of professionalism. That's playing the game, and a lot of people in this industry just aren't really playing that next level game. But that's a good thing, because it only takes a few small tweaks here and there to see big return over your competition in your area.
Yeah, I guess one other thing I would speak to right now, at least for those of you listening, would be as you think about enduring the cost, or having to pony up. Maybe it's $20, maybe it's $50, maybe it's $200, depending on how many you buy and what you choose to get. The way that the majority of people operate is today's dollars are already spent. Excuse me. So today's money's already been spent. That's fine. Think about it as if I offer one more course, I could earmark, the profit from one or two students to pay for t-shirts. Make the commitment today that you're going to do it, and then earmark those future dollars towards it, because guess what? Those t-shirts that may have cost you $20 or $40 to make, I guarantee you will bring in at least one or more students, which is going to pay for it in the future. So you have to think about it long term. Don't get caught up in, filling up your car, because you can't use t-shirt money for gas money. Get serious about it. Treat it like a business. Roll the plan out there. Commit those future dollars to it, and make it happen.
Yeah, start thinking of yourself as a brand. I mean, that's kind of has in the past been almost like a New Yorker style view, or a magazine, corporate style word is brand recognition. But there's a reason why these corporate mentalities have trickled down into the small business space over the past several years. It's because there's some real thought processes here that do generate revenue. And so I would definitely start thinking of yourself as a brand and sort of craft what you want that brand to be all about. Do you want to be known as Joe's Gun Training Institute that's known for being the cheapest in town? I mean, is that what you want? It's a market, so you might want to consider that. I mean, that is a space. If you want to be the cheapest guy, if you want to be the McDonald's, go for it. Be the McDonald's and own that shit. Or if you want to be a subject matter expert on a certain area, that, in my opinion, is where you see the real return, because you're not going to price yourself out of the market by trying to offer the dollar menu to everybody. Just start thinking about who you are, who your business is, and what you want it to be all about.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could think of another dozen different examples to beat this over your head, but I really don't think we need to, and I don't want to. So with that, I mean, we'll probably wrap this one up. It's one of our shorter episodes, but again, just to recap, it's all about a professional image and understanding how you want to be perceived and how you want those students to come to the classroom, and what do you want them to walk away thinking and feeling about you, your training, your brand, and how do you control that message, and how do you make a couple of intentional changes ahead of time to make sure that you influence them appropriately on the day of the training and beyond.
I got one last final thought on my end. So in our previous podcast, we talked about how to operate more like a business, and how to not price yourself out of the market. Well, each one of these is building. So value-added content is another thing we touched on. All of these, to include what we're talking about now, brand perception, equal ratcheting up your prices a bit. I mean, you don't have to be the cheap guy if you're executing on all levels. If you're firing on all cylinders, you no longer have to be the dollar menu in this space. You can, through perception alone, because perception is reality, you're going to be a little more exclusive, a little more elite.
Yeah, I guess I would draw back on another statement we'd made was control the process so that you can control the outcome. What we mean by that when we say it is that value proposition, them trading dollars for your service, just has to translate to making it worth it. So, regardless of what you set your price point at, you just need to make sure that you're delivering an experience and a service and a value that demands the price you're asking, and no one will ever question it.
And with that, guys, we've hit our 20-minute mark, which is where we always try to stick with. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks for coming back, and we hope that you tune in next time.
Thanks.